So, test. Gotta see how loudly I have to talk.
Hi, hello, welcome.
Smile like that.
It's a regular smile.
Okay.
Yes.
It's crystal clear, we've been over here, the struggle stray along the way, but having you by my side makes everything okay. We're watching video clips of all types of shit, laughing out loud, we really hate this crowd, and we don't know where to go, hopefully take it slow. Lots of hustler minds will reject and decline our approach to life, and well, that's just fine. We wanna let others live because it's none of our business. We press your chest upon our mess. There's so many minds, hey, I'd like to incline. See beyond this place, we want a part of this race. We do what we can, you better tap out, man. You're about to pass out or get a break for the cloud. Why it's so hard out here, they made it so weird. Try to stay woke and humble and joke. It's fucking hard out here.
Welcome back to It's Hard Out Here.
It's so hard out here.
It's so hard out here. We realize that maybe not all of you know our story. Even if you know us, you may not know a whole lot about us.
Right.
So we thought we'd do a little interview. And today we have with us Joel. Also, I'm Karina. But we're talking with you. So let's get right into it.
Okay.
Where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas, and I moved out of there when I was 22 years old. Sorry, we've done this like 3-4 times now. But we keep having issues, and hopefully this is the one that lands. So.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I was born and raised in El Paso, and left when I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
For a master's degree program at
There you
Texas
go.
State in San Marcos, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up? What was your childhood like?
It was free for the most part, very unrestricting. Being boys, I think that had a lot to do with it, you know, because I had some girl cousins that were really locked down, I guess you could say, or what would be a better word? I don't know, restricted
Yeah.
and
Sheltered?
sheltered. Thank you. That's the more common one. I couldn't think of it. And so compared to that, I was like, dang, yeah, we do get to do a lot more and you know, freeing. Yeah, I don't know. I spent a lot of time outside. I was as a kid. Well, as like a younger kid, I would spend a lot of time alone. I've always been sort of like an introvert, and so I would play with my toys a lot, keep to myself a lot, and then I discovered skateboarding, and that's when I started like venturing out into the world and meeting people on my own, kind of a thing. And so that I think that really helped with a lot of experience, you know, just getting out there, learning how to like actually physically navigate the terrain and get around. Because I remember like taking buses to the mall or like to a skate park, you know, very young.
Oh, wow.
And I also remember like just skating to somewhere far away, you know, very young on my own, just by myself, like whew, off.
My
Like your
goodness.
son's age, you know, doing that stuff.
Yeah, like that
Almost,
sort
yeah.
of blows me away because like I would never,
And he's like very incapable of
he would
of
not be
that.
able to do that in any way.
He could barely make it out
I
of a...
would not even be okay with him doing that.
No?
No, like I wouldn't.
I would.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I could not.
But no, not like in his current state, how he is,
Yeah.
right? If he had had a little bit more exposure and
No,
experience,
even if he was
then, yeah.
capable, I don't think that I would be, I don't know if I'd be okay with that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that would have to be a discussion between us, I
Yeah.
think. If we were like raising him together.
Yeah.
But I mean, luckily, yeah, no, he's totally not capable of doing it now. So,
Luckily for me, yeah.
I don't know if that's so good for him, but I mean, that's a
No,
whole different
definitely not.
discussion.
Okay, so you were out and about doing stuff.
Yeah.
You sound like you were kind of like a cool kid doing skateboarding things and
Yeah, we were gnarly, bro. No, I mean, whatever. We were just like, I was always consider myself like not the typical type of person, I guess. You know, like I didn't do sports, I didn't do extracurricular activities. I just always wanted to like keep to myself. One of the reasons I think I never really enjoyed sports or got into it was because of the team aspect. Like I just didn't want to work with people.
Yeah.
Like I'd much rather do things on my own, which skateboarding is perfect for because you just skate with yourself or
Yeah.
with a group of friends too. But you know they'll encourage you or they'll just like talk some shit on you. Either way. it's still just like up to you. You're not like, no one's dependent on you, reliant on you for like their victory.
Right.
You can support them, you know, and try to lift them up and be like, let's go, you got this, keep doing it, whatever. But yeah, I remember one time we had gone to, what is that town over there? It's not like very close to Marfa, but it's close enough. Presidio. We went to Presidio one time because my friend's dad worked in customs, so he had to go down there for some sort of job. And then myself and another friend of ours we all went together to just like go hang out and like skate the town, see what there was to like go skate out there. And we did. It was cool. That was a little fun aspect about it, because we had seen like in skate videos, that's how like the pros would do it. They would just go find skate spots, you know, and out in the public and private properties and stuff, like businesses and things like that. But we went, and there was this ditch that we had found, and we were like skating it for a while, and I really wanted to get this one trick out of it, and I just could not get it. But we spent like an hour just there of me trying it, like over and over and over and over again. Yeah, it's funny. So I mean, I definitely understood, like I came to understand concepts of like persistence and consistence and all that kind of stuff, but it didn't work out for me, you know? So I also, I guess later on I needed to learn when to like cut it, you know, when it wasn't like worth it anymore. Or like
to
maybe
let it go.
Yeah, or another method of like, hey, just take some time off and like come back to it later another time or something, you know? But
did you ever come back to it?
that one, I don't think I did, because I mean, we were pretty limited, you know, we were teenagers, and we had gone with my friend's parents, so we didn't, they gave us a car to drive around. My friend whose parents we went with let him drive it around that town, because it's a smaller town. But yeah, I mean, he didn't really want to be like chauffeuring us around too much for some reason. He was always kind of like cautious too, I remember, because his parents were fairly strict. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, just growing up there, I mean, that's kind of what I did. I was out and about, meeting all kinds of different people.
I mean, it sounds like it was nice. Why were you, I think you had mentioned before you were kind of like ready to get out of El Paso, like.
Because it felt like there wasn't anything ever really going on there, or at least nothing cool, at least nothing that I thought was cool. Because it turns out, yeah, there's like a rich history and culture there for sure, especially being on the border with Mexico and another major city, Ciudad Juarez. Lots of people, you know, cross over to go to school in El Paso or work in El Paso, and they're from Juarez, Mexico, or whatever. Lots of trade, you know, businesses and things like that happen in there. But I guess I wasn't really into any of that sort of stuff back then, you know. I kind of had a very limited interest spectrum, I guess you could say. I liked wrestling. I liked the pro wrestling. I liked skateboarding. And I liked Jesus.
Yeah.
And I liked God. Yeah, that was pretty much my life, I think, if you could sum it up. You know, always had a very close family, so that was pretty cool. I mean, they're not perfect in any sense of the word, but I think they did good of like really instilling strong core family values in all of us. To a certain extent, of course, you know, I always try to like take what I can and learn from any situation or experience or advice and things like that, but then I will also adapt my own sort of take on it, I guess you could say, right?
Oh, yeah,
I don't
for
take
sure.
it at full value or whatever, but yeah, I don't know where to go with it. Like, I had a pretty tight-knit family, I guess, growing up, you could say. My mom has a baby sister who had children around my age, so I hung out with those cousins. They were all girls, and so I spent most of my time with them. We had such like pleasant things, you know. We would like go to water parks and theme parks, and we'd go hang out at my grandparents' house every week, like every Wednesday after school. Both my mom and her sister, my aunt, were teachers, so they had the exact same schedule, you know, so it just worked out. We'd go to church on Sundays, and then we'd all go out to eat with the family afterwards. You know, very structured living. got a little older, didn't want to go to church so much. Would get away with it once in a while, like we wouldn't have to go. But then we moved churches, and that's when I really got involved because it was a dominantly English-speaking church, and that
Yeah.
helped me out a lot because
Yeah.
English was my first language, I think. They spoke Spanish at church. I understood some of it, and some of my family would speak Spanish to each other, you know, amongst themselves, like my aunts and my uncle. This is all on my mom's side, by the way, and they would, for whatever reason, at home they would speak English. They would speak in English, you know, never really Spanish. One, like here and there, a little bit of Spanish, sure, but yeah, it's really weird. And I know my mom's always regretted that, not teaching us Spanish in the house when we were younger. She thought, for whatever reason, you know, that's interesting to think. Like for her time period, she was convinced that English was gonna like take over and it was gonna be the dominant language, and because she grew up in a time where Spanish was like looked down upon.
Yeah.
You know, like you couldn't speak
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So I was wondering about that. I figure that it might have something to do with that, that she was probably just trying to protect y'all from harassment or, you know, having a better place in society, maybe.
Something, yeah. But turns out we would have been much better off bilingual.
Would have been good, yeah. But
Yeah.
you don't know at the time, you know?
Yeah,
You're
no,
just
for
trying
sure.
to keep each other safe, and she's probably just looking out for y'all mostly.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, always looking out. That was good. My parents were always looking out for us, trying their best. I mean, hell, they stayed together because of us. You know, they didn't want us to see them break up
Yeah.
and divorce, which we did eventually, and that took its toll on both my brother and I, for
Yeah.
sure. He took it a lot harder, in my opinion, than I did. I was younger, so he was the first one, you know, so he'd been with my parents a lot longer, I guess you could say.
Yeah, had more time with them as like a couple, as a unit, a family.
Yeah. And I never really saw it, honestly. I was like, we were together, but then I started questioning. You know, I'm like, there's something weird going on here. I don't know if my parents
sort of
like each
sense
other,
it.
you know? And so I asked my mom one time, I was like, do you love Dad? And she was like, yeah, of course I do. I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, I wonder if she was lying to me.
Yeah.
You know? And, yeah. And I asked my dad one time, I was like, are you cheating on Mom? And he was like, what? No, I would never do that. Why would I think I'd do that? I would tell you if I was. And I'm like, okay.
I would tell you if I was.
Yeah. Like, don't you think you'd have a right to know or something like that?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Ooh, adults are weird.
But I know, right? I don't want to be that way. But we never want to be like our parents.
no, definitely not.
So yeah, just kind of grew up in that kind of household, I suppose. You know, some lies here, some secrets being kept, and then, but like going to church and, you know, learning to like love everyone and forgive and you know, just try to be a good person. And when around like 12, 13 years old, I really took that kind of stuff to heart, and I became a full-fledged Christian, and I was like going to like Youth for Christ and very active in my youth group at the church. And I had friends at school that were not churchgoers really, and not really religious or spiritual or whatever. And so I was kind of like an outcast, even amongst the like outcast of kids that I hung out with already, you know? And there was one classmate that also was a churchgoer, and like of the Baptist faith, of like a Protestant Christianity faith. And I remember he was the first kid that I had ever seen like dressed up in like scenester emo kind of attire. You know, he had that look where he had like a button-down shirt, it was untucked, and like baggy khaki pants with like skater shoes on, and like a tie and a sideways or like a crooked cap with his hair covering his face.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, dang, what's up with this dude?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And later on, he went on to be like a full-fledged scene kid and hung out with all those types of folks, you know, that were like scenesters.
But being Christian during that whole time?
I think for the most part.
Yeah.
And he fell off too, it looked like, because he was partying hard from what I understood, and, you know, got into some crazy stuff. Yeah, but he had invited me to like go to his church too and check out that youth group, and I did, and it was cool because we had like similar taste in music, and we both like skateboarding and stuff. So I go and it's like, you know, the house band's playing and it's like some like alternative rock music, but it's like praise music. And,
Oh yeah.
we're like jamming out, and this woman who probably like in her late 30s comes up to me and she's just like, bet you didn't know that Christian music could be this cool, huh? And like, of course I knew because I was
Yeah.
already like in it myself. I listened to several Christian groups that were like either pop punk or like hip hop or just like rock music. And
You were experienced.
I know. And so I was just nice about it. I was just like, no, you know. I straight up lied in church. And I was like, yeah, no, I didn't. She's like, yeah. I was like, cool, leave me alone. Like, I'm going to go over here now. But I don't know. Yeah, I was fully in it, you know, to win it. And that's kind of where that was like one of my only interests, really. I didn't have interest in school. I just wanted to like go to church. I just wanted to worship God and skateboard.
Wow.
That's all I wanted to do. Yeah.
So that was like something you studied? Like that was like you were active in learning about like
Yeah.
the Lord?
I went through a few youth leaders, as they're called.
Yeah.
You know, the youth pastor.
pastors?
Yeah. And so we had one who like established a Bible study just for boys, just for guys, right? And he was probably in his early 30s, if not younger at the time. And he had kind of grown up listening to like some punk music and stuff like that. So he was like kind of hip and cool with it, but like dorky really. But he was a big dude, he was gigantic. And he got a few of us together of the same breed of like skateboarders, you know, like rocker, metalheads, whatever.
Some alt dudes.
Yeah,
like Christian boys.
we had like Bible study together, and we would like try to break down scripture and like try to really understand it, and just like love each other, you know, and try to be there for one another. That was one thing that really pulled me to the faith, was like the community, the sense of community, that understanding that we can love each other and it doesn't have to be weird and like gay or cringy or whatever else might be relevant there. So that was always really cool. And eventually just got to a point where I was like, hey, like some of the stuff that I would do with my school friends, I would never consider doing like with my church friends. I would speak a different way around my school friends. Like I would use a lot more curse words and
Living
stuff
like
like
a
that
double
too.
life?
Yeah. So at church, I was a lot more respectful and appropriate, you know. And so I was kind of living that like double life, and I started just kind of feeling like, you know, I want to sin. It's fun. Like
Really?
I was just like, there's fun things about it, like whatever, like who cares. And
Do you remember anything in like particular that was like, I want to be able to do that, but like I feel restricted because of my faith?
no, because maybe. Yeah, I think so. Sort of in a way. I had impulses and like desires and things like that I feel like I couldn't act upon, or like I had to like suppress because of the faith, you know. I'm like, oh, that's not right. Like that's wrong to think or whatever, something like that. And I just didn't want that anymore. I didn't want to feel like Big Brother was watching me all the time, you know.
Right.
And I had, of course, heard other opinions like, oh, how do you know that's real? Or maybe it's, you know, God doesn't exist. Like just straight up like, well, God doesn't exist, so that's stupid or whatever. But then there's like also other religions out there, and so I started like questioning, like, well, how do we even know ours is right? Because I, you know, for the longest time I was like absolutely certain like my faith was the correct one.
Yeah.
I was right and I was saved and I had nothing to worry about. And you know, so lots of factors play into it for sure. And then around like college, I started taking a genuine interest in it and investigating, you know, whether or not these things are potentially true or not, and like started reading up on like Buddhism. Started practicing some yoga, you know, started learning other like philosophies and theologies and all sorts of which ways with that stuff. Trying to discover it, and it all just eventually led me to atheism, you know. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Intense, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I mean, because you were religious for quite a while, yeah?
Yeah, at least up until the time, like full-fledged up until I was at least 16.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I started to like, you know, dwindle off a little bit. I was like hanging out with these people at school, like having good times and establishing really good, strong bonds with them too. And like we cared about each other, you know, as much as teenagers can care about each other. And got really close with them, and I'm like, "Dude, like this is totally cool. I see nothing wrong with any of this." And like we were, partaking in like substances. We would drink, we would smoke, and we would do mushrooms once in a while. Like they were the first people I had ever done mushrooms with, and like that experience, that first initial mushroom experience was just like mind blowing for me. It opened up a whole new pathway and so many different doorways for me, especially with like my relationship with everyone there. It like really bonded us. We just had like a really great experience, all together, and always felt very safe and comfortable with those people. And yeah, it was sweet. It was nice. And so that was interesting, because once I had taken psychedelics, and I was just like, whoa, that's like a whole different realm. It's like another world. And I'm like, wait, well, so then what's like real? Like, what if this is like channeling us to a certain dimension or a plane of existence, that is kind of around us? And what if we are like spirit, just like traveling around or something? Like, what the hell was that? That's crazy. And because that was like the first time I had like tripped. The first time I'd ever taken mushrooms, and like first time I had ever experienced like a hard like trip.
Like a big one.
Yeah, like genuine like hallucinations and self-realizations and just like all this crazy stuff. But it was all positive.
Yeah.
Didn't really go down any dark pathways. Didn't have any darkness like pent up in me. Kinda. It was just like amazing. I was just like, whoa, this is so crazy cool.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this is beautiful. This is amazing. It's wonderful. I had a very positive experience.
That's
So,
lovely.
Yeah.
Is that challenging to like your faith, like because you had experienced something like that?
Sort of. I mean, it was just kind of like, what was that? How come this isn't discussed? Like, how come this isn't talked about? Yeah, a little in different, not ways you would expect, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get at. Like, yeah, but I don't even know. I can go like so many directions with this. So I kind of started investigating that way, like wondering, okay, is like at least spirit real? Is our souls a real thing? Does that exist? And so it wasn't just like, I wasn't just stuck on Christianity itself per se. I was really trying to find out if like these supernatural realms do exist, or what we could consider supernatural, because now I have a totally different opinion and definition of what supernatural even means. And, and like understanding of it. And yeah, but I mean, that's a different topic. But yeah, it was all just very positive for me, I guess you could say. I think I did my due diligence, and I continue to also. It's not like it stopped. I still, as you know, I still watch like shows and stuff and listen to people talk about things, whether they're believers or non-believers, smart and dumb people alike. Like I try to take it all in, but especially then, I'm brand new to it, so I'm looking for a lot of. I'm not looking for them per se, but they pop out. They stand out a lot more, like these oh gotcha moments. Like, okay, like this doesn't make sense. So obviously, this entire ideology is bullshit.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't really work like that. But
No?
they start to there are certain like things where. No. I guess I should say, like, when you do find something that's like, let's say, contradictory or doesn't make sense, it's just like illogical or whatever. You kind of you're just stuck there at that point. Like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense. Like, so how do we fix it, or how do we explain it? And then you try to explain it, and it's like, okay, it still doesn't make sense. Like, because you're special pleading, or like, there's all these like logical fallacies that follow up, and you're just like, well, okay, so it does. Okay, so this point doesn't make sense, at least.
Yeah.
Can't really say for the entirety of like the system or the faith or whatever you want to call it. Like, ugh.
So did just like did they start piling on, and it was like so many realizations, and you were just like, well,
too many.
There's so many like holes, I guess, or cracks.
Yeah, so many things left to ignorance. And that's a big one. Like arguments from ignorance are used a lot to justify reasons for believing in something. And so like that's why atheism itself, I feel, gets a bad rap and is misrepresented all the goddamn time, and it's frustrating. But hey, here's my opportunity. There's other people online that are talking about it too, so I'm like not the only one. But atheism is just lack of belief. Like, you do not believe that these things are true because you do not have sufficient reason or evidence to believe that they are true.
Yeah.
You're not saying that they're not true. There are some things that you can say are not true by way of reason and logic, sure. And there are hard atheists out there that say like God does not exist, and you'd have to like break down like, okay, what do you mean by God? Who's your God? Which God are you talking about?
Yeah.
So there are like hard atheists out there for particular gods also.
Oh.
It's like, okay, obviously the Judaistic or the Judeo and Christian God doesn't exist.
Okay.
That seems very obvious or whatever. And then, but the problem with that is like trying to prove it, and it's hard to it's really hard to prove. And
Right.
I don't think anyone.
Whether for or against.
Right. Either way, yeah, it's unfalsifiable, as they say in like science.
Okay.
Yeah, and philosophy too. I mean, philosophy is the foundation of science. Yeah, for those that don't know, I guess. But I don't want. I'm not trying to sound like a prick or anything.
I don't know. Well, so you were so deeply in the faith. Was it troubling for you to like come to terms with this? Was it difficult for people in your family or your friends? But like, what's the personal struggle?
Yeah, it was definitely hard for me personally, because I was like all in, and I would go through hard times, and I would like cry out to God, be like, please just like show me for sure, 100%. And dude, like, I've recently done it too. I know I haven't told you about it, but I've recently done it too. Because I'm still open to it, I'm like, yo, if you're there, like, show me.
Yeah.
You know what it takes to show me, because you created me supposedly, so you know exactly what it's going to take.
Yeah.
So just fucking show me. And then I hate it because sometimes I'll get the whole point of like, well, yeah, just be patient. It'll happen when God's ready for it to happen. But I'm like, okay then. So any discussion we have, any conversation I have is irrelevant then, because why even discuss it? There's no point, right? God's gonna take care of it. So shh the fuck up, leave me alone. Like, I don't know.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, and that's kind of like one of my big like overall encompassing like perspectives on it now. And it's like, hey, don't worry about it, right? You believe in God, yeah, and God like knows everything that's gonna happen and has a plan for everything, right? Okay, so then stop worrying about it. He's got it.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Let go, let God.
Yeah, let go, let God. Yeah, take the wheel, Jesus. Anyway, I still get a little frustrated from it, but
But is it like personally, or is
And
it
so-
because of like what you deal with other people?
personally too, because I wanted to know. I want to know. Now I'm fine now I'm fine with not knowing.
Okay.
Or not. Now I'm fine with admitting I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm still an atheist because I don't believe.
Right.
Atheism is like an asexual, not sexual, lacking sexuality, and I'm a theist, lacking theism, right? A theist is someone who believes, and atheism is by definition just anti-theism, or not anti, but like not believing in theism.
Yeah.
And so, I did, my heart of hearts it's always been genuine about it. And I'm like, yeah, just show me. And I'm like, holy crap. I would just have moments where like, I don't think any of this is true. Like, it's not making sense. It doesn't make sense, And then coming to my family with it, that was a whole thing. Like, hey, I don't believe in God anymore, especially with the background that we have.
I was going to say, because aren't they all very involved?
My mother, especially my mother's side. My dad, not so much, but he is a believer. He would always tell me about how he would question things too and whatnot. And it's like, okay, cool, respect. So that's good. Kind of, I guess, opened the doorway for me to also explore that, But my mom took it badly, of course, and I felt terrible. I didn't want anyone to know for a long time. It was hard. I didn't want to hurt my mom, and but eventually I had to tell her, because I didn't want to like keep that from her. I told my dad, and he was fine with it. He was like, "Well, yeah, that's your decision. I'm not going to tell you what to believe, what not to believe. And you're a grown adult, and you make your own decision. You're responsible for what you do and what you believe, so that's fine. I'm going to love you no matter what." And he's always kind of been that way, especially when we were kids. He's like, "Hey, you're going to make decisions. And it's not my fault, it's not your mother's fault, it's not anyone else's fault but yours. You're going to have to deal with the consequences no matter what they are, good or bad. So just remember that, He would always tell us like crazy shit too, like, who's going to take care of you when I'm gone? Who's going to take care of you when we're gone, when we're not around? We don't live forever. And it was just like, dang, all right, I guess. I'm like 5, I just want a peanut butter sandwich.
Gotta learn sometime.
I'm just
Let's
kidding.
go.
I don't know if that. I don't have any specific examples. I just remember him telling us that, like,
Yeah.
you know, throughout our lives, just like, you're gonna have to suffer the consequences, or you're gonna have to be responsible for those decisions, not me. It's like, cool. Yeah, I get
You
it.
do have a lot of personal responsibility.
Message loud and
Yeah.
clear. It worked. It worked.
Yeah, great dad life lessons.
Yeah. But
So you got through that. What? And no strain. Like, well, I mean, there was a little bit of turmoil because with your father it wasn't so bad. With your mother it was a little harsher, and you probably felt terrible about that.
yeah, it was bad. It got to a point where I was going through a rough time in my life, and I would go to my mom, and she would just tell me, "Turn to God. You have to turn to God." And I'm like, "Okay, we're done. We're done talking. We've already had like previous discussions about it, heated discussions, emotional, crying, of course, all of it." And I was just like crying, you know, on the phone with her because I was living in San Marcos at the time. I'm like, "Hey, I don't want to talk about this with you anymore. I'm sorry. I'm done." That was before I knew what boundaries were.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
okay.
already like implementing it, you know. I was like, "Hey, I can't because what your function as a mother is failing me in this aspect of my
Right.
life because I'm coming to you for comfort, reassurance, and some advice. And the advice you're providing me it's almost like a cop out to me because it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I understand belief in a deity as just a completely psychological phenomenon and nothing more. You're letting go of responsibility, you're letting go of attachment, as like the Buddhists would say.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you're giving it up to the universe, as your mystic universalist would say, or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck, you know? Like, that's all you're doing. Like, stop telling me to go to God. I am not convinced he exists.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he exists. I have no reason to believe he exists. Like, we're done. I don't want to be talking to you about these things anymore. Please stop.
Yeah. I mean, like you were coming to someone also. I mean, you're coming to your mother for advice, and so it probably felt like, you know, you're not really giving me your time
Yeah.
and information. You're telling me to go to something that I don't even care for.
It's like, yeah, it's like if I was hungry and I come to you, I'm like, "Hey, I'm really hungry. Can you please like spare some food?"
Yeah.
And you give me an empty plate, and you're like, "There's an orange, an apple, a banana there, but I don't see it." Here you go.
Oh
Feed.
gosh.
And that's funny because in the Bible, you know, there's some like parables where it's the faith is referenced as like spiritual food or whatever. You know,
Oh,
some
wow.
nonsense like that. But I'm just sorry.
So
I don't
you're
know, I
out
just
there
came up with
starving.
that. The whole like invisible
Yeah,
fruit plate.
yeah.
Like, here you
Well,
go.
it's still so much a part of you.
Yeah, I mean that's how it felt. You know, I'm just like, you're not giving me anything, dude. Like, what does that mean? Turn to God. Like, really? You know what you're telling me to do? Like, do you understand? I felt like misunderstood, you know, and I felt alone. I
Yeah.
was like, geez. And then, they tell you, but you're never alone. God's always with you. And I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Where? The only person that is here with me right now is you telling me that. You're the one that's here. Not, I don't feel or see a God.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've felt God too, okay? If someone ever tells me like, hey, you just didn't believe hard enough or you didn't try hard enough.
I was like,
or
well, that
whatever.
was like your beginning of your life.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
was in it.
believed
I
really
was
hard.
full-fledged
Yeah.
Christian. Like, don't ever tell me that.
Yeah.
I didn't believe enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, so that was hard, but y'all got through it. Your relationships is still super strong.
Yeah, and we've stayed, you know, I think in my opinion, we've gotten closer because of it. I mean, we've always been close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't really affect it too much.
But you got to continue being more your true self and like
Yeah, that's a huge relief. I can relax a little bit, you know, and just, yeah.
not have to masquerade in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound difficult. Yeah, but here you are making it. Your family connection is so strong. Your friend connection is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
you were talking about how you've had those friends since little and you were bonded and you're still together.
My chosen family, for
Yeah.
sure, you know. We just bonded in so many different ways. One, we were kind of like the alt artsy weirdo kids, and then when we started like drinking together, you know, of course, inhibitions are let go, and I guess I don't know if it's for everybody, but like I would get super emotional, and I like grew attachments by way of that, like with them especially. And we would like get together in the desert around a fire, and like my friend would bring out his acoustic guitar and he would play Against Me songs, and we'd all just like scream the songs at the top of our lungs, and just like I cherished those moments I mean I still do, but like I really held on to those moments in time in my life for such a long time. They were so dear and precious to me. It just meant so much because I was like with a group of people that viewed the world in similar ways as I did.
Yeah.
Not 100%. Obviously, we've never been. You can't be 100% with anybody, I don't think, really. But we had like issues with authority. We had issues with the government. We had issues with like the way they told us that life is supposed to be, or how we're supposed to live our lives and things like that. So we didn't buy it. And so that was really cool time, and I just stayed friends with most of them, honestly. There's some that have fallen off here and there, and it's just time, naturally it happens, you drift and whatnot, and sometimes it's not as pretty. There were some like harsh breakups for sure, unfortunately. That's just human nature, I guess. We're messy creatures.
Yeah. But that's kind of fun that y'all even were able to do that, because sometimes people just stick with their shitty friends, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And I did for a long time with one of them, unfortunately. I mean, gosh, I really hope like he's doing okay, obviously. I mean, maybe that's not so obvious, but I don't hold any grudges. I did for a little bit, but because we were so close, man, we were best friends for the longest time since 7th grade. Because I had every single class period with him, and I would get injured skateboarding all the time, so I had crutches. And he helped me carry they asked him if he would help me carry my books to class, and stuff. Yeah, from class to class, since we had every class together. That's how we first met. And we just got like super close. And we stayed friends forever up until I was about maybe like 28, 29, somewhere around there. I cut him out.
That's a long time.
Yeah, because things just weren't going so good. We had our disagreements. He always liked hanging out with me. He liked hanging out with my family, but with all of us, he would always point out like how much better our families were than his. He had a hard family. He had a rough situation, so he was always kind of like envious of that.
Yeah, harboring some feelings.
And he would express it from time to time. He would get upset and whatnot, and understandably, but I was always there, trying to like just like reason with him and be like, well, dude, like I know that sucks that you have that, man. That's really unfortunate. I'm sorry. And I was just kind of always there for him. Wouldn't really say much on it, but I was just there for him.
Yeah.
And so I know he did appreciate that. He was an ungrateful person, but he just started lashing out more and more frequently as the years went on, and it became life, just hits us, and it gets harder and harder. And then he started mistreating everybody, around us, and then he started mistreating me, and I took it for a while, because we were close, and eventually I was just like, I don't have to take this. Like, I don't. That sucks. All right, and I just stopped talking to him. Didn't say anything, just cut it out, We had already kind of started drifting, like he wouldn't reach out to me as much anymore, because I mean we would just hang out and like get drunk and stoned together, really. Just someone else to do that with. We would play disc golf a lot together. We'd go on bike rides together all the time, and but eventually just cut him out. And I told one of our mutual friends who we had recently started to hang out with when we moved to Austin. I was like, yeah, dude, I don't know. I just can't, like, he's just kind of mean to me now, dude, and makes me feel bad about myself. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be around that.
Yeah.
So I just stopped hitting him up, and he's like, all right, dang, whatever. And then I see him at a party where all of us are there, and just like go, say what's up. And like, hey, man, what's going on? And we're all talking. And I remember he like casually just slipped in there. He's just like, yeah, I've been trying to be a lot more positive lately, and just like thankful, and just not be so negative all the time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, dude, that's good. That's cool, like, for sure. And that clued me in like on the possibility of that mutual friend of ours probably telling him
Telling
what
him
I said.
something.
Like, yeah, he just thinks you're a dick, dude.
Oh,
You're just
snap.
mean to him.
Yeah.
You're like negative all the time. You're bringing him down.
Oh my goodness. So he was like maybe trying to correct,
Yeah.
maybe try to reach out a little bit.
Yeah. Valiant effort, I suppose. Nah, that's like as minimum. I think as
I was
least
like,
you can do.
it sort of sounds like too little too late, you know?
Sort of, yeah, to some extent. I mean, if you were to hit me up now and we were like sit down and have a conversation to see how things are going, I don't think that's necessary because we have completely separate lives, you know,
Yeah,
and it's
grown
fine.
really far now.
Yeah, and so it's fine. But I don't hold a grudge necessarily. There are some things that were hurtful that he did to other people too that are hurtful. You know, it's just like, dude, that's harsh. I wonder sometimes if it's because of like my Christian upbringing to be able to like forgive people,
And like move past it.
move past it. Yeah, but not so forgiving with like strangers.
Yeah.
You know, because I knew that guy for a long time.
You did.
Yeah, and so
mean,
with other people, I'm just kind of like, nah. I just like keep my distance.
Yeah.
You know, like nope, not getting involved with that one. You know.
Yeah.
But I'm like that. I'm like that with most people, honestly, unless I can see something good in them. You know, I'm like, okay, they might be a good person deep down.
Yeah.
And then try to understand them, and usually find out that they are, or just find out that yeah, they struggle with some stuff. Maybe need to keep distance.
Yeah.
You know.
That's fair. I mean, life lessons, definitely going through that.
Yeah, for sure.
But most of your friendships are fantastic, and you know, you've had them for literally like more than you haven't had them.
Yeah, they're nice. Very fortunate to have.
Yeah.
Second family for sure. It's people to always go to.
Yeah, not many people are as fortunate as that. So I love that for you, and I love your friendships, and like your stories are so much fun. But so like now you're more of an adult, and you left El Paso, and what'd you do? Like you joined the workforce. What's that been like? What are you doing, or what happened then to now? Where are you at?
So when I first moved out, I was working at Lowe's and going to school. Dropped out of school because it was too difficult. I wasn't in the right headspace for it, and just started working. Lowe's, hated the customer service, hated the ungrateful attitudes from customers, things like that. Also just hated feeling like a servant to people.
Yeah.
And then I decided, I was like, okay, well, I need to reestablish some purpose in my life, so maybe I'll get back into healthcare. So I got back into healthcare, and that's where I had a really rough time because it was like a rehab facility, but we had like ventilators, so and that's like kind of critical care almost, you know, because those are machines that help people breathe. So that was before COVID, you know, before anyone knew what a ventilator was, and it specializes in traumatic brain injuries. So that's what the whole like facility really does. Yeah. So I saw a lot of crazy things, you know, patients that were completely altered because of their injuries, and also people that like recovered. I saw some crazy recoveries too. Like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
Saw lots of people die too, and had to try to resuscitate a lot of folks too. Didn't work out all the time, and
Yeah.
lots of crazy stuff. The workload was insane. The death and the death so much didn't get to me, I don't think, but like seeing people in certain states did, you know, because I was like, man, they still exist. Like, I wonder how much they are like still up there, like cognitively, you know, or is it just like crazy chaos? Like, what's going on inside the brain? Because I mean, that's the seat of our experience, right? So I'm always like, I'm like scared of stuff like that. Like what happens inside your head when that when an accident like that occurs, and you're still alive and conscious, you know, what's going on in your head after that? Like, do you remember being regular? Do you remember being normal at points in time, or is it just like all wiped out and like you're just another way, like, you know, all of a sudden? And so that kind of stuff scares me. Being like locked in, we're all locked into our own experience.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. But the workload really got to me because sometimes it would be like one tech, one nurse to 10 patients, and that was like a good situation.
That's a lot of people, though.
It's still a lot of people, but you could cycle through them pretty efficiently. But it was still like go, 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 go. And when it'd get bad is when we'd have like 20 patients.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because like just staffing issues or whatever,
Right.
and it's exhausting. And I worked all different shifts there. I tried the morning shift, and I tried the like mid shift, and then I tried the overnight shift. You know, I did all three. I moved, facility or units rather, because there was a medical unit there, and then they had like a post medical unit. There was also like a substance abuse unit that they had at that campus, and then some units for children as well with like behavioral issues or whatever.
Oh.
Some that were like victims of like, I don't know the medical terms for it, but victims of like substance abuse during pregnancy,
Oh, yeah.
things like
yeah.
that, you know. So they didn't turn out,
Didn't develop correctly.
didn't develop in a healthy way, and now they have like now they struggle with, you know, being in this existence.
Oh gosh, that's difficult.
Yeah, being in this society and whatnot, behavioral stuff or whatever. And so anyways, I moved from like the medical unit after trying all three shifts there to the post-medical unit, where it was a house where the program was designed to get the patients reoriented with life and life skills.
Okay.
And so they would like cook, clean, you know, and go to the grocery stores,
Yeah.
go to any stores. We would take them out trips. We would go bowling, do fun stuff, go to the arcade and stuff too. But even then, I was just like drained by that point by the time I got to that unit, because I thought it would be like easier, and it was in certain ways, but still like these patients are more with it now. So now you're combating them on a more like regular level, where they're just like they almost would treat me like they're butlers at some time, to some extent. My job was to help them, to aid them get to a more independent state. And sometimes they did not fully understand that. I'm like, I'm not here to serve you. I'm not here to do everything for you. You have to try. We as techs were always in communication with their therapists and their nurse, and they would give us like guidelines, like, okay, this week we're working on putting on their socks. Their socks are a difficult task that they struggled with. They did everything else pretty easily, so maybe just help them out a little bit with the socks, but everything else they got to do on their own.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. They'd give us all different types of modalities that they're trying to implement and stuff like that. So, you know, it's great experience for sure that I can write down and jot down on my resume, sure, but just the actual toll it took on me over time, I was just like, man, this isn't for me. And I did not gain a sense of value from it.
No.
I don't think I need stuff like, I don't need to be in service to gain a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't know why that is. I understand like a lot of people that helps out for sure, and I can get that too, but
That's interesting because it's a very Christian aspect too.
and I think that's why, because I grew up in the church doing that, serving, doing mission trips and all that kind of stuff. And like, I would just do it for the sake of doing it, not for the sake of trying to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And now as an adult and as an atheist doing it, I'm like, why am I doing this? They're like mistreating me. This is abuse, yo. Like, I'm not all right with this. Like,
Yes, I'm so
fuck
glad
that.
you said
Yeah.
that. Yes.
I'm like, I want to be nice, but if you're not going to be nice to me, then nah, we're not doing this.
You're
I'm
not gonna put in
sorry.
your time and effort for that.
Exactly. And so, you know, I understand why people do it, and they'll take it, and then they're more capable of taking it too, most likely, right? For whatever
Like,
reason.
they have the space for it.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't. I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need that. I don't need those types of things to give my life meaning and value.
Right.
You know, I have a great life for the most part. Not to say that I don't get depressed about things. I've gotten a lot better, you know, over
Yeah.
the years, because I've always sort of been depressed, but now I've just been so focused on like gratitude and appreciation, just like trying to be, you know, in the moment when I can. You know, I still struggle, of course, too, with even the job that I have now. So I get out of that place, and I think, okay, what can I do that doesn't require me to work directly with the public or work
Right.
with people?
Because like
Yeah.
no service.
No service. Yeah, I think I'm done with doing service stuff, you know. If someone asks me for help, I don't have a problem doing that. If I get any sense of you trying to like start to take advantage of that, then we're out. I mean, I had that situation with my neighbor not too long ago,
That was a
right?
big deal.
I helped out just for the sake of helping out, and that's it. And then boom, that like started
turned into
snowballing.
a
It's
lot.
like, whoa, dude. Now you're pushing it. Now you're overstepping some boundaries, and I'm not okay with it. But yeah, so anyways, decided to try to work for a lab. Like, cool, you like stick to yourself, right? And they have like processes and procedures there that are very like strict and stagnant, you know, and you just do that and you're done. Go test whatever you got to do with samples or specimens or whatever, and then you're out and you're done. I was like, I think that I can do that, and that'll give me a lot more headspace to do other things that I want to do, like outside of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I was still like drinking too to like cope, you know, and that was a problem because I had a binge drinking problem. I was alcoholic, and I would like go hard, you know. It got really bad to where I was blacking out kind of regularly.
Yeah.
I would forget things, and started becoming like an annoying and aggressive drunk too, where beforehand I would just have like fun. I was always happy, you know, being drunk.
Carefree.
Yeah. And so working at the lab, turns out I don't qualify for being an actual testing technician because some science, I'm lacking like 1 or 2 science credits. You know, there was a possibility of like, oh, you can go back to school and get those 2 credits. And I was like, I'm done with school. I mean, we've already done school. I don't know if I want to do
Just
that.
for like 2 credits?
Yeah,
Oh
even
my
then.
goodness, that's an annoying ask, but yeah, sorry.
No, and I get it. It's only 2 credits, 2 credits, sure. But I hate school.
Yeah.
I don't like the structure.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I learn in a very different way.
Yeah.
You know, and I've come to learn that, thankfully. Finally, it's like, no, this doesn't work for me, and it never has. And I wish I found that out way sooner.
Oh my goodness.
But anyways,
yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
School system.
so anyways, don't really plan on pursuing it, but I know I have a college degree. I am sitting on a bachelor's in science. What the hell can I do with it? I need to make a decent wage. Not making a decent wage yet, even here. So there's offices at our lab too that do like quality work. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can get into there. People start talking like, you just need a degree, you can apply there. The position opens up. I'm like, sweet. There's actually a guy from El Paso who like really pushed me to do it. He's like, so what are you gonna do, man? You know what you're gonna do? He really sweet dude. We went to the same high school, but he's older than me. I knew his brother, his little
Oh my
brother.
gosh.
Yeah, and so he's like, hey, you know my brother? And I'm like, no way. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. And it's funny, they're so similar. This very energetic, like happy people.
Oh my goodness.
So he was like,
I'm obsessed
he
with
also
that.
trained at 10th Planet while he was living in Austin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he was at 10th Planet. And he was like, you know that 10P stuff, right, dude? And I was like, yeah, man, I keep up with like some jujitsu stuff and it's really cool. He's like, yeah, man, you got to get at it. I'm like, yeah, and I think while I was there, I signed up. Yeah, I was still working at the lab and I had signed up.
Oh
And
my
then I broke
goodness.
my arm skateboarding.
Yeah.
So then I had to
like
quit.
right away.
Yeah, like with the week I signed up, I broke my arm that week. And I was like, hey, I can't afford this. You guys are going to have to cancel my membership. And, but yeah, he was like, you should apply for quality, dude. You know, you already got the experience here in the lab. You've been working. You know how things kind of work here. Go for it, dude. You got a bachelor's degree. Go shoot your shot. He's like, I'll talk to the supervisor, you know. She's really cool. Oh, sorry. I'll talk to the supervisor, you know, she's real cool. And I wonder if I can bleep that out, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll talk to the supervisor and yeah, we can try to get you in, dude, for sure. And I was like, yeah, dude, thanks. And like, I was kind of reluctant still too. I'm like, why are you helping me out so much? I don't want to be pushed so much. God dang it, like leave me alone.
Yeah.
But it worked. I mean, and I'm like super thankful that it happened now too, because I got in and I've been there since. You know, I've been at the lab for going on 4 years. Now I've been at the lab 4 years now, and yeah, I think I've been with the department three of those years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the quality
so you
department.
stayed in there. My goodness.
Yeah, so it's not bad. Just dealing with the simple, well, they're not simple, but annoying rather, bureaucratic nonsense of corporate office work, I suppose, is kind of disheartening and soul sucking. But I can manage it in a way to where I just go, get my work done, and get out. And I'm not trying to be anything extra there, you know? Just trying to enjoy my time as much as I can. And that's been a learning process too, you know, trying to even just get there. Because we have like meetings and stuff sometimes where it's just like, oh, we're a family. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I become? Like, where am I? What is happening?
Love it. Office culture is so much fun. Bond, morale.
And it's crazy
team.
because it's like a pharmaceutical company too, you know? It's like, whoa, so there's like big money in this as well. But they play it off as like we're doing good for the community on a global scale. It was an international company, and we just recently switched to a local company that's national. But Yeah, it's like you're providing plasma medicines for people that have like immunodeficiencies, you know, that they can't mitigate any other way. And it's like, okay, cool, sure.
Yeah.
But also like that whole system itself is like kind of effed up. They like, you know, you have the donor centers, and then you have the testing centers, and then
Yeah.
you have like the actual manufacturing centers where they turn it into the medicines that they're going to create. And then the selling aspects of it too, or how much they sell these medications for. And
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, we're cogs. We're a part of it. So capitalism, yay.
Yeah, no, it's kind of sad, but whatever.
But you get time to like do some of the things you enjoy now, right? You have a.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we don't get to do anything we want all the time. But so how do you deal with like getting to do some of the things that you enjoy?
I deal with it by doing some of the things I like to enjoy. I don't know. Sorry, I was trying to wrap my head around that question, like what you might have meant
What's
by
it like, your work and life balance, I
Yeah.
guess?
Okay. I mean, I have a regular schedule, so I know when I'm not going to be at work.
Yeah.
So I can plan other things according to that time.
Yeah.
That's it, really. And gosh, I don't even remember if I've said it in this episode or another one that we recorded anymore. I'm like getting them all mixed up
I
now.
know.
But like being with you, I don't know if I've said it in this attempt to record
I
this
don't
episode.
think so.
Being with you has helped a lot because now I'm like, cool, I have someone to do it with, to do these things with. That makes it a lot better because I've always done things by myself. Yeah, like a lot of things by myself, but that's just not as fulfilling for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sucks, I guess. That's a weird thing that I should probably learn to deal with. I mean, I've always like tried to deal with it. But yeah, now that I'm doing things with someone else, it's just so much more worthwhile to me. You know? Yeah, it's nice. I've always wanted to have a relationship with someone that I can like truly love and like be all in for, you know, 100%. And I think, yeah, the time that we met and started talking to each other, we both kind of had similar hopes.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And I think we've always had that. You've always felt that way. Also, you always wanted to like find like. It might have been a little bit different because you always wanted to have like a husband and kids and family,
Definitely
right?
different.
Where I was like, I just wanted a lover, like someone that I can, because you know my parents went through the divorce, and I was like, okay, marriage doesn't work. I can love somebody, but I don't have to marry them. And then the whole kids thing, I'm just like, I don't know, that's scary. That's a huge responsibility. Like it's a big freaking deal. Like they're gonna go out into the world, and you have to like do your best to make sure that they're okay. I've always felt like I wouldn't be a bad parent. Excuse me, but you know that goes with. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like that means little to nothing.
Oh,
You know, when people
like
are
coming
like
from yourself.
Yeah, like
okay.
people are like, I feel like I'd be a good parent, and it's like, okay, sure.
Guess you don't really know until you're in
Because
it.
yeah, you don't know until you're in it, and once you're a parent, then you're just like, holy crap, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
I am faking this whole process till something works out. You know, and lots of people fail at it, in my opinion. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen that. We're close to
Terrible.
like seeing that.
It's so bad, and I think it just seems so much more common than I ever thought it was.
Yes, that has been a wild realization.
Yeah, because I grew up in a very like neat structure. I'm like, okay, this is cool, like it's fine. And then I had some friends, families that were like a little less structured than mine. So, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then I come out into the world, and I'm an adult, and start like interacting with more people, and like you know seeing their families. And I was like, oh my god, they really acting like this out here? What?
Yeah.
And then
And how common it is.
very common, super common. But it's interesting because when I have conversations with my dad or my mom about how like kids are, they're just like, yeah, I mean, that's how it is now. They always say that's how it is now.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's interesting, I guess. Maybe. It's always been that way though, and you just were never exposed to it either? I don't know.
Maybe.
My mother was a teacher though, so she always
Probably saw a lot
dealt
of
with
that kind of
kids.
stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's weird. It's interesting because talking to them, I feel justified in feeling like, what is wrong with kids and what's wrong with the parents? How are they letting this happen? You know. But then at the same time, I'm like, no, but I feel like it's also always been that way.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of a thing that has been said in different ways in different generations,
Yeah.
but like sort of the same concept.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's been a trip, just trying to become part of the family unit, in my own special way too, because our dynamic all around is just unconventional to begin with, because we started off, here we go, in an open relationship, and I was studying ethical non-monogamy at the time, reading up on it, learning as much as I could about it, and I had one other partner. I was dating someone else at the time, and I was talking to another person long distance, and yeah, just working through that.
Oh, I can't wait for us to have that relationship episode. So,
Yeah. But yeah, now just figuring out this dynamic, and with the kids involved too, and us continuing to be, open within our agreements, of course, and like, yeah, it's literally been one of the best times in my life, for sure, hands down. Like the time that I had with my friends in high school and like bonding, all those moments, singing those songs together and just like loving each other and caring for each other as much as we could. And like now, like that, those two, are in that same category of like best times of my life. And even like my childhood too, as well, like just having so much to be grateful and thankful for, like lots of great experiences, always being loved and cared for, honestly, all the way through. So yeah, definitely
that's really lovely.
Highlights in my life,
That is so nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad you're in that spot. Like you're getting to have that right now. Like I love that, and I love being able to be a part of it. And
yeah, I'm doing so much better, like so much better than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Well, for a while, because I was fine for a long time, and then like adulthood set in, and that's shit's hard, and I like got real depressed, and yeah, I was losing it for a second. Had to come back, check myself and whatnot, and then finally gave up drinking, right? Been sober for over 2 years now.
Yeah, almost 2.5 years.
Almost 2.5 years. Yeah, so yeah.
Yay!
I know,
That
it's
is
crazy.
really
I mean,
amazing.
you had a big role in that, obviously. I mean, given your situation that you came out of with alcohol and abuse, I didn't want that to be in our world.
Yeah.
So
You have no idea how much I am just so appreciative of that
Kinda
you
just
even
kicked
had
it.
that mindset to just even like, I care enough to be like, I'm going to do this.
yeah, and I don't use that I'm not trying to use that as like a manipulation tool or anything like, hey, I'm doing this for you.
No.
I'm like, in a way, I am doing it for you, but I'm like doing it for us. I'm doing it because I care about you so much. Like, I don't want you to have to deal with that. Like, that's how I kind of am sometimes. I'll try to look out for other people by changing my behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen that.
By
for
correcting the way that I am. Yeah, and it's fine with you because I can be myself 100%, completely open and honest, and just like, I mean, gosh, we've had some disagreements and we've had some scary moments where it's just like, what the, and like, I'm just like, no, like, I need to explain to you, like, let me tell you. And then I'm like, I know how I sound right now, like, because these sort of things do happen where people do try to use these tactics to like manipulate folks. I get that. But I'm honestly trying to come from a place of understanding and realizing and trying to explain how I really feel about it, and, realizing, okay, this is how it might come off, or whatever the case might be, and like, that's not what I'm trying to do, I swear. Like, and I'm learning about myself too in that process, like, okay, I gotta
absolutely.
be careful with some things, and like, not deny them necessarily, but maybe they need some tweaking or whatever.
Right.
And I'm fine with doing that because it's for us, and I want us to work out, in it to win it.
Hey,
Home team. That's from Rocky, the Rocky movies. I don't know if you remember that.
Is it really?
Yeah, like
I don't
Rocky
remember.
5 with his son.
Home team.
Home team. And then when he starts training Tommy the gun, he starts saying that with Tommy, home team. So his son gets all upset. He's like, that was our thing.
Is that in the fifth one?
Yeah, the fifth one.
I've seen that one, right?
Yeah, we watched it.
haven't
Remember
seen
he fights him in
Balboa.
the street?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
yeah.
I really like the Rocky movies.
She had never seen them before. I was like,
Ever.
what? We gotta watch this. Yeah.
So I feel like that, like, we could actually dive into ourselves. Like, I have so much more that I like I feel like I have questions of. So hopefully, can we do this more? Can we do?
Yeah,
like
we'll
some,
definitely. Yeah, there'll be some
Okay.
more episodes of like just us. Like I want to interview you next, so we can get a sense of who you are as well, and then it'll be fine. And then other guests, please feel free to reach out if you're interested. You might want to share your story and experience with the internets. We're definitely out to help people, put your name out there too. That's totally cool with us. We're just doing this because we want to do this. This is fun for us.
We're enjoying this. It's another thing that we get to spend time together doing, and like if it means that we do it all the time, like this is great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, because really, like the jobs are great. They give us stability, but
We want to do whatever we want.
Yeah, if we could, we wouldn't. Is what we're saying. 'Cause
Yeah, exactly.
we just want to hang out and enjoy our time.
Oh my gosh, so much that.
And this is nice. And we do that through like jujitsu, and we used to go skate together. We haven't been able to do that in a long
It's been
time.
a little
but
bit. Yeah.
we go out to the lake, we go out to the springs, we'll go bike riding, we'll hit the trails, we stay active.
Yeah, definitely.
And those are all things to keep us sane and grounded.
And we'll share that with y'all, for sure. Like how we get through things, what we do to get through those things. Like obviously our passions, our hobbies.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the relationship stuff. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
it's gonna get so juicy.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be such an interesting
I think that
episode.
would probably gain the most following, if anything. Who
think?
knows? I don't know. But yeah, and then, we'll see what other
So
people are up
like and
to.
subscribe so
Yeah,
that you can
please.
find out that good information. It's drama. It's
Hit that button right
yeah.
there. It's somewhere
Press
over
it.
here. Down there.
Also,
Or
leave
is
a
it that
comment.
side?
Let us know how we're doing. Ask us questions.
Talk shit. I don't care. Whatever.
If we're super sucking, let us know.
This is embarrassing to do too, so I want y'all to know that
Yeah.
I'm not going to be proud of every single thing I might say here, and I might get canceled. But
Oh yeah, we're jerks.
let me try to explain myself at least. Give me that, okay? Don't take it out of context. Jeez. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice to people.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Yeah.
And then what?
Tell us about it.
Oh, tell us about it.
Tell us about it.
We're going to do our best not to judge, but we are going to judge a little bit.
Super judging.
It's human nature, dude. Come on. This one especially.
I'm sorry, not sorry.
It's just, oh gosh, you're so rude, dude.
You're literally
I'm
telling everyone to
sorry.
be nice.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
I don't want any bad blood between anyone.
Yeah.
I want to get that out there.
I mean, we're gonna be judgy, but we're not gonna hate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah. Yes. I might hate you, but I'm still going to respect you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah. So, come on back. Catch us for the next one.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Later.
It's fucking hard out here.